Welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Hoopers podcast. I am your host, Alvin Pettigrew Jr., and in front of me are my two best friends in the world, Calvin McGowan and Philip Dixon. Guys, go ahead and let the people hear your voice.
Once again, everybody, per usual, I'm Calvin McGowan. As always, it's a pleasure to be here.
What's going on? I'm named Philip Dixon, former Fisk athlete, the best. Good to be here.
Look, I know it's been a while since we left. Look, all of us work in education, and as you know, May is the end of the school year, and we pretty much got steamrolled. So
Thanks.
hiatus is now over. Let's get back to it. A lot of times passed. Uh, both teams have come out of the conference finals. We got the Nuggets. We got the Heat. Hopefully, you guys can just sit through some basketball. I know it's been a little bit hard for you guys to, adjust to what the new era of NBA play is. But guys,
Hard for who to adjust?
I don't. Some
Who
people,
are you talking to?
random people.
So,
The audience.
so
Some
there are a
people
lot of
don't
people.
believe you watch basketball.
There appear to be people who consider this a boring finals because basically one of the big name teams aren't in it. Some of those people are just salty that Boston didn't make it or LA didn't make it, which fine.
I don't
It's
take
it's
those
cool to
people
be a
seriously.
fan,
I
huh?
don't take people seriously. Those people are the worst. Like,
I don't either, but it is still
okay,
kind of look. Oh, there was I think it was an editor on from Sports Illustrated who basically said that like the Nuggets weren't interesting.
oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
And you were like on Twitter, you were like, oh, is he admitting to being bad at his job?
yeah, like I'm pretty sure he just admitted being bad at his job.
Yeah, I mean that's what he was doing. Um, this man, two-time MVP on the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray has been going crazy. And like they just got a lot of like the best people who know their roles in terms of role players on the team or in the league, honestly. And you over here talking about a boring team, and you got like that one of the only times an eight seeds made it to like the NBA Finals. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's stories you can conjure up a story for days about what this is, but no, the guy didn't have anything. I'm like, oh yeah, you're bad at your job. I get what this is.
Yeah. It's just like what both Jamal Murray and Porter Jr. are back to being good players after dealing with a variety of injuries. Porter was basically made of glass his first 2 years, um, and his 1 year in college. Can't
A
forget
back
that.
injury will do that to you.
Fair. I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like the fact that he's gotten around to even being as good as he currently is, not let alone the fact he can still get a lot better, is low key, like something of a not so minor miracle.
Also, all those people who want to care about Aaron Gordon in the dunk contest, watch him in the series. He's doing a really good job. So like, or watching him play the playoffs generally, he's been doing a pretty good job. But like, he's in a good position, right? He is the what is it? He is the uh he is the Nuggets equivalent of Golden State's Andrew Wiggins, right? You was like fine to pretty good.
Bring the Warriors up, huh?
Well, like you're fine to pretty good in like your original situation, and then you get put into the right situation, and like your best of your potential comes to be shown, and that's what happened with Aaron Gordon once he moved from Orlando Magic to the Nuggets, and I'm just like, these are plenty of stories that you can just talk about, but boring, that just means you don't like your sport. Like, why are you why are you a journalist in that sport if you don't like it? Do something else. Go to Iraq.
Put oh.
Out of pocket.
What? So
Like,
like,
you,
well,
you, know that was, you know that was wild. You know
no,
that
what?
was wild.
Like if you like your sport, be a war journalist. Like do something else. Don't be a sports journalist if you don't like sports.
like
I think the issue is these things, all these stories, because there are great stories. Like realistically, the window for the Nuggets opened up 2 years ago. If those guys did not go down with significant injuries, who knows if the Warriors actually get that last ring last year? They would have had to go up against elite Jokic with those guys a year better.
Yeah.
So like there's plenty of storylines that we can't tackle. I just think it would make you stretch your brain a little bit more than you need to versus what we've been having for the last decade, which is LeBron
Drama.
and Steph, where it's really easy, where it's like these dudes sell it themselves. Like Calvin was saying, it's showcasing that the people are bad at their job or think they're powerless for some reason when you have things like ESPN behind you and you could literally just create a narrative that people have to rock.
Like,
Can we get into the actual basketball for a moment? Because otherwise I'm gonna get on a rant about like the fact that the NBA sucks at like pushing new stars, and that's gonna involve wrestling. I'm just not trying to do all that right now. Not this second. We can at least talk about the basketball. We can come back around to this.
Rambling is what podcasts are for. How dare you be direct and try to get us to move on to something else? That's
You
not
know, just
to circle back around on the exact same subject later on.
exactly.
All right. Look. Okay. So the thing is, right? Like, if you look at like the stars of the NBA, right, or the folks who could be more or less considered, the stars, the most well-known players and whatever, everybody is either their career is winding down, right? Like they've only got a couple more years left realistically, or like they're really young, right? Part of this is just like LeBron and Steph, like keeping a generation of dudes from getting rings, but it's also just like for example, like Tatum isn't as big a deal as Steph or LeBron were at a similar age. Well, maybe not Steph. And they're probably not the best examples. I'm trying to remember. It's just like, this is so long ago. But like, the reason stuff is boring is that you don't push the stars that you have. You keep promoting the old guys without really building up the new guys. Like Ja, a lot of people consider like Ja's generally considered a star. He's super well known. He's a human highlight reel, but like that was very much kind of in spite of the way the media works with the NBA.
Right.
Right. Like Luka's probably not the level of star he should be.
We be pointing at him like, oh, this is his year to win MVP for the last 5 years. He's kind of there.
He's like, I'm not saying he's not. This isn't about talent. I feel like maybe I could be wrong on some of this, or like characterizing this poorly.
See, I'd argue for Luka, he don't feel charismatic. Like some of these stars, right? So like you go into let's say you go into like the early 2000s, right? Mid to early 2000s. Sure, you had LeBron, right? LeBron's the best. LeBron's the best of that generation. He had a charisma about him from the very beginning, right? Automatically, and we started following him. The basketball populace, started following him even earlier than they started following other players on like a global level, right? Being later years of high school, so on and so forth. But then, you had Shaq, who had like charisma, right? Automatically, that's why he's able to thrive like he is on like on television like he is right now. You had Kobe Bryant, who was even like the most like straight and forward, narrowed one. But he had charisma. He'd go into prom with Brandy. You know what I mean? Like he had a little side quest to be, elevated to superstar status also. But they also had Tracy McGrady's, who that dude don't got no charisma. Vince Carter, outside of the dunk contest, he don't got no charisma, right? So like there's like top tier, there's like an S tier and then an A tier, right? Of like superstardom. In this year or this season, these past couple seasons, you're talking about growing stars. I don't think a lot of them are that charismatic. Luka's not that charismatic. Jokic isn't that charismatic. Ja Morant's charismatic, but some could argue in like the wrong ways. Or not necessarily the wrong ways, but like he's charismatic in like a leaning towards more Allen Iverson way, means like, just like black culture-esque way, but not as influential. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like Allen Iverson changed the dress code. He was, Allen Iverson was that guy. He dribbling footballs. Ja Morant not doing all that, and he's ruined it for himself for the current situations that's going through. So like, I just think there's a lot of, Jason Tatum. He's not a charismatic guy. I just humbly am one of the best basketball players in the world. You're not that charismatic.
He's super
right?
lame. He's super lame right now.
Like, you're like
really weird.
And I think that's all I'm saying is that there's just a lot of lame dudes in the NBA. Like, at least in the 70s, you had like Dr. J, the 80s. You know what I mean? You had like people, Magic Johnson with the big mink coats on, but like the non-lame guys in the NBA now still even seem kind of lame, right? So I mean, like
Kyle Kuzma,
James Harden, right? Russell Westbrook. They're not necessarily lame guys, but like they're not.
They'd also qualify as like kind of being in the tail end of their careers as well, though.
I mean, they was dressing wild before the tail end of their careers. Ain't nobody listen. People would see Magic Johnson, and they go, "Man, that guy got a DJ set in his locker. He got the big minks." They see Dr. J and go, "Man, I want to dress like that. I want to play the same style as that." Like, the only person in the NBA now who is more on a telling career, obviously, which is Steph Curry, that the youth go, I want to play like that. Steph Curry don't got no swag. That's a lie. He got swag, but it's like suburban swag. And that means no swag, right? Like, Steph Curry played like he played in the suburbs his whole life. And that's not, in NBA, that's never been like the cool style. You know what I mean? The trend-setting styles. So I just think it's like a charismatic thing. I don't necessarily think it's a talent thing, but once again, you said it has something to do with talent.
Yeah, what I'm talking about isn't about talent.
Yeah. So that's my op-ed. So
like, my thing though is still right. Is like, as a media though, right? The whole point is like find an interesting angle. It's like it's basketball, right? Dudes get hurt, they start playing well, they start playing poorly. A dude has a career year. Like their stories, like people would be interested in reading all over, right? We like even just like with the Nuggets, but like, and I think that on some level, it is. I'm not gonna like sit and necessarily argue the charisma thing with you too much. But like on some level, it is the media's responsibility to like hype up. I feel like to hype up stars, and I feel like they're not really like, particularly for like the younger dudes, they're not really doing that. And right, and like the thing is like it would be like, and I think part of it, right, like the new crop of guys aren't like, we have dudes in Boston, but there aren't really dudes in LA, right? Like, the Heat are in Miami, but like none of them would be considered like what am I trying to say?
You talking about like big market teams?
It's not even about like the focus, I guess, with the media tends to be on the bigger market teams. So when you have like, I'm not quite gonna use Ja for several reasons here, but like when you have like LaMelo Ball over in Charlotte, I don't know. Trae Young feels weird to me with this, but like Trae Young in like Atlanta, or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in like Oklahoma City, right? And okay, you talk a little about like, oh, these dudes are playing well, but like there's not that investment in trying to showcase your young talent to the world in a real way.
Yeah. And look, I think part of it, from like a media standpoint, I think we've gotten lazy. Um, we know LeBron has been a superstar for forever, but they saw that at 15. It was like, this is what we're gonna talk about for the next 25 years. They made us love LeBron every step of the way, and they're not doing this with the new generation. Even though, like, we should be sick of Giannis at this point. We should like almost be sick of Jokic at this point. And because we're like overlooking them, and those are like the middle-aged superstars, where it's like these might be the dudes that you can talk about for the next 5 to 7 years to give you that bridge between like the next great one. And we know Giannis. We don't know anybody else in that age group.
I wonder if the league itself, this is a thought, I wonder if the league itself is also trying to shy away from being a league ran by superstars and being like the corporate entity, itself. You know what I mean? Like I wonder if that's like a motive of theirs, because if one superstar, because the power it holds, right? We've seen the power of LeBron James now, Michael Jordan in the past, Magic Johnson, right? Larry Bird-esque, right? What if they're just, as like a marketability standpoint, them as a league is trying to like shift away from that?
I haven't thought about that. That's
if you're worried about the ancillary superstar, make 3 to 5 at a time. There are literally 3 players right now for best player in the world.
But like
that's what we should be seeing.
You're not wrong by any means. I don't disagree with you by any means. But, and I just kind of thought about this with, especially when Calvin was talking about the Hawks, Trae Young, Alexander, Oklahoma City. Like, the more you can have stars for promotion, for advertisement, for all these things, what do you want? One giant superstar, 5 superstars? Or do you want 15, 20 stars for marketability all over, especially if you're trying to like gain popularity throughout the world and not just be in the United States, right? Like, I think that is a thing that possibly could be like in terms of business and thinking about it right now, I don't think that is so out of control that wouldn't be like a part of like the scheme, the business scheme of the NBA going forward.
I think the thing is just like the basic issue with not necessarily like that plan, assuming that's what they're trying to do. It's like on some level, it kind of just has to be a power thing, because like those superstars are what grew the brand, right? Jordan came into his own league, became more popular than it had ever been to that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
LeBron shows up, Curry shows up. Again, more people in more places caring about the league than you ever had. So on some level, if the goal is to grow the brand as much as possible, not that you don't build multiple stars, you most certainly should. And the fact that you don't have dudes who can on some level kind of step into the new role, the guy, even if only for a brief moment, is an indictment to how you market the product, in my opinion. But like, to like try and keep any given basketball player from becoming bigger than the NBA, right? In the way that, I guess, to think wrestling for a brief moment, like The Rock or somebody became bigger than like WWE.
Yeah.
Is doing like, it's kind of shooting yourself in the foot if the goal is to grow the brand.
I mean, maybe, but maybe not, because if the goal is to grow the brand, to like, and I was just listening to a interview with Kevin Garnett and Joakim Noah, right? And they were talking about like the steps that the NBA is doing to grow the brand, specifically in the continent of Africa. If your goal as a company, as a corporation, is to expand and bring in more profit by expanding to a wider margin of consumer, then if you can get more people of more relatability in different locations, then like the stars, like if you're Oklahoma City and you have like a star there, that might no one in the world really cares about Oklahoma City, but who does care about Oklahoma City? Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, right? Like all these quote unquote flower states. So it's spreading out. It's like, and it's not in terms of talent, but in terms of marketability, it could be like they could be thinking about it as like a quantity over quality thing.
But like, I'm sorry. My thing is just like, okay, if right, you want to try and like have more identifiable stars for more people to identify with, then when you get those dudes on that talent level, you push them, you promote them, right?
Yeah.
Like if, for example, if the goal is to get more love, like to try and grow basketball on the continent of Africa or whatever, push Embiid more, right? Make it like try and make him a bigger deal, not just
Right.
within basketball but outside of it.
Now, I think that you
For
are
example,
1,000% correct, but I do think they are doing it. I think you're 1,000% correct. They are doing it. I think they're just doing it poorly, as you're pointing out right now, right? There's, it doesn't matter if what your goal and ambition is. It is once you do that, will you do it successfully or you do it not successfully. And you're right. You're gonna cater to the continent of Africa. Like there are a couple different Africans in the league right now, right? Giannis being heritagely one of them. Like you could be like, all right, look at this. This could be you. But also, you still got to on the back end kind of worry about these European leagues that dudes are staying over there who are really nice their whole entire careers. You know what I mean? So it's just I don't know. It's an interesting thought process of the business side, I guess, of.
like you can promote multiple dudes at once though, like, but I don't know. This is
But but if you want to take it back to wrestling though, like wrestling for a long time, and I'm using this analogy actually. Wrestling for a long time, Vince McMahon did not want a superstar to be bigger than the product, right? So you had Hulk Hogan. After Hulk Hogan, you had The Rock, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay, after them, who'd you have? John Cena. Okay, after John Cena, who'd you have? For a long time, it was nobody until the last like year and a half, which is Roman Reigns, right? So like for years, WWE tried to do this exact same thought process of what we're getting right now, but then they realized, oh, this isn't working and our numbers are going down. Let's get the superstar again. So watch, I bet the NBA we see a very similar thing. We are just in that we're beginning to get into that valley, that like underbelly of okay, there is gonna be no superstar, but they're saying it's gonna be Victor Wembanyama.
I
I don't. I felt like right. I get he's the greatest prospect since LeBron James. What they've been saying. I felt like there was more hype in Zion coming to the league than there has been Victor. That's just me, and I mean like not from like the amount of work journalists have put in to like write about him. I mean just like the feel of it. You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
And so I'm just like, I mean, he might be really good, but LeBron James wasn't just good. He had like a star quality about him
But
too.
you also think of like domestic products versus international products,
Yeah.
and we'll always get into that issue. But like you guys are saying, as far as I'm concerned, this is an Adam Silver issue. Like this is where he's going to have to make his bones as like the commissioner. Like this is his this switch up where he has to make his legacy points. Like this transition, like you gotta if you want to do the multiple star thing, you gotta make it work. And if that happens, he gets the crown. If not, we're looking at him like you letting the product fall.
So,
But
wait, just so I'm clear, you're saying that one of the establishing issues of Adam Silver's career is going to be how does he deal with international play?
No, not how he deals with international play. How he is for years, like you've been saying, you get one or two superstars at a time. That has been the NBA's bread and butter.
Yeah.
If he wants to transition to the multiple star thing, he's going to have to figure out how it works.
Like, how's he gonna handle marketing when it's not on easy mode anymore?
Exactly, because David Stern is the reason why we know the NBA the way we know it right now.
To you,
This is now Adam Silver's turn to figure it out.
To you, at this moment, Adam Silver has been in the league for about a decade-ish, a little under that maybe. What is his legacy right now, as we stand right now? Because I have one in my mind, what I think it is, and it's the Black Lives Matter stuff. And not saying he did a good job, not saying he did a bad job. Agree or disagree. Is it performative? Is it not performative? That is probably the biggest thing he had to deal with is players walking out of stuff. Do you think that how he engages with this further on can overtake that in terms of legacy standpoint?
For sure. Because I also, much how we have forgotten about the Black Lives Matter movement as a whole throughout society. Like, we were really fighting for a couple months there, and nothing's happened. I feel like that's going to be the same thing on his resume. Like if his career stopped right now and we went through it and they made a documentary about Adam Silver, that might be 30 minutes of the story. But it is basically like a 6-month journey of his 30 plus years with the league. Like,
big though.
That's not good.
Yeah,
that's not like super memorable. So we're gonna have to. So I'm gonna have to shake, and I need it. Hopefully, it's this part.
Hopefully, it is. You're right.
Yeah, but guys, let's talk about some actual basketball, man.
Yeah.
The finals. Everything's tied 1-1. One for the Heat, one for the Nuggets. And I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'm still banking on the Nuggets in 5. Honestly, like they haven't, like even with Duncan Robinson pushing the Heat to that comeback, I'm not worried. I didn't see any like incredible adjustments that had me the least bit shook.
Do you know what the adjustment was? Man, the Nuggets think they got it. They had it in the bag, and they took their foot off the pedal. That's essentially what it was, right? The Nuggets taking them a light because they started playing games. They started playing a little bit more goofy than the Nuggets we have come to know this year played. This was a wake-up call. The end of this last game was a wake-up call. Watch what happens next game. Like I just want everybody to watch what happens in game 3 because there was this weird talking point today of turning Jokic into a scorer and they lose versus like a passer, and even Spoelstra kind of like chuckled at it. It was like the untrained eye kind of scenario, you know what I mean? And I think that 1 second. And I think that if you are engaged with actually watching the games, then you're gonna see that okay, game 3, they're about to lay it down. It's not gonna even be a close game, I don't think, because I'll get into Jimmy Butler later on, but Jimmy Butler not looking too himmy.
Yeah, I think the thing that I said this entire time when this series was coming up is going to be competitive, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a long series. That just means each game the Heat are going to give them some type of challenge. It ain't going to be too bad, but it's going to be enough where it's like, oh, that 10-point lead not really safe. And that's exactly what they gave us last night. It was like we're just going to play through the whistle and be like,
Calvin, as a person who watched game 2, tell me if I'm tripping. The game was far than close and far than close.
Mhm.
But even when it was close, even when the Nuggets lost, the game didn't feel close. I'm not tripping because like I was watching, I'm like, I feel like the Nuggets are playing way better than these dudes, and it don't feel close, but the game was close. And I usually go, that's like my gut feeling coming to it, like, yeah, they about to get washed. They just need a little wake up call. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm not sure I completely agree with that. Maybe I don't know, it might just be a matter of perspective.
I could have been tripping.
Like that said though, right? Like because the memory serves that last game, right? The Heat spent. Let's see, they were down for a while. But they spent a lot of the game more or less in control. Right, and then kind of pulled away there, with Duncan Robinson remembering how to shoot. And like it's personally, I think it'll probably go 6 or 7. Good players, good coaches, they're gonna make adjustments. Um, I I don't think that I think that the Heat are more capable collectively than I feel like folks kind of want to give them credit for. That's not to say that like they're necessarily the better team in the series. They obviously don't have the best player in the series. But they were like last night, of course, they were able to take a game from the Nuggets. Nuggets, like next game is about to be in Miami. Will and they have time to make adjustments. I just think that like I guess what it comes down to, I feel like the Heat undeniably know who they are and they know what they can do. And Spoelstra is really good at maximizing that, as well as like attempting to take away what other teams do well. Right, the thing with like, oh, make Jokic a scorer or whatever is just kind of like what you're doing really is like taking passing lanes away. Right. And also I noticed that Aaron Gordon wasn't getting a lot of that roll to the rim stuff he was getting game one. Granted, they did still leave him open from deep, which seems kind of ill-advised, but like, you probably don't want most of the other dudes starting taking that shot. But like, I don't know, as far as Spoelstra and them are concerned, as long as they get the win, the details are immaterial. But
Yeah.
I think it'll be a longer series than a lot of people expect it to be.
Yeah, I might have to get to disagree with that one. I think this is the only win. And this is like, we haven't seen the Nuggets play, quote unquote, this poorly in a minute. And I don't suspect they will again. To be perfectly honest with you. Um, I wouldn't be surprised once again, as I mentioned, 5 games and like get them out of here. Nuggets win, and then people are gonna start making excuses. Oh, we only played the 8 seed.
They're already making the excuses.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's also
It is.
They really try to put an asterisk by this one, and I don't understand why. Like, oh, they played weak teams. Like, bro, we know what the West was this year, but there was also some like killers over here. Like, this wasn't a cakewalk getting out the West. It wasn't the hardest thing ever, but it wasn't a cakewalk.
it wasn't a cakewalk, but like I mean, I don't know. It was a league. Like we had this game conversations. We have these conversations every single year. It's the league. Some people get it easy. Some people get it hard. But at the end of the day, you're gonna win a championship. So what's a league? So you do that, we good. It should be that simple.
And we should give a hat tip for the best team in the league right now. Like that is the best team.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So gotta do better. Yeah, man, I don't really have a lot to say on the series, bro. I think it's going to be very like cut and dry. It happened.
Dang. Jimmy Butler shouldn't have won Eastern Conference
He should have.
MVP.
Cool.
You're right.
We
You're
give it
correct.
to you.
Martin.
Okay.
He's the only reason they won that series. He came out killing. Also, Jimmy Butler, he's not playing that well. Like, if you look at his efficiency, it's not good. Like, his efficiency over the last couple games, for sure, have just not been good. But, like, that's, he had a stretch of, like, a series or two. And all of a sudden, that, like, lore made its way over to, like, the rest of the series he's played in. It's like, nah. He did not win that series because of him against Boston. And the Heat aren't really winning some of these series, or it didn't win yesterday's game against the Nuggets because of him. They won it because every role player played their role to the T, or they played better than they should have played. And it's just like, Jimmy Buckets, he's shooting 26 points, 26 shots. That's not good. What are we talking about? That's never been good. But for Jimmy Butler, I guess myths and legends will always exist, no matter how prominent the internet is, because somehow or some way people just stop looking at the stats for this man and just like are just feeling him purely based off those earlier numbers.
No, cut it out, Philip. We're not about to sit here and act like Jimmy ain't had some high heights.
No, I'm not.
These last couple months.
I never say he didn't, though. I'm saying that he's also had some low lows. So
is everyone else.
No.
No, the lows.
But the way they're talking about Jimmy Butler, I think my issue, I don't want to say like issue, that might be too strong. But the thing that I'm trying to get across is, I think for the Heat specifically, I think it's less about Jimmy Butler a lot of times and more about the coaching of this team. Like, Jimmy Butler has some really high highs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But also he has some really low lows. And if Giannis plays in the first two games, they don't beat the Bucks. I mean, it is what it is, right? We know this to be fact, right? They don't gain that confidence to be able, especially these role players. These role players do not gain that confidence to be able to do that, point blank, period. But what is consistent throughout the entire playoff so far, and to getting to this point, is their superior coaching. And I never have been like an Eric Spoelstra guy, like, for whatever reason. But you can't deny that to be the case right now. Like, Eric Spoelstra goes into every series and has outcoached in every single series. Adjustments from game to game. People will always hype up the adjustments that weren't made for Doc Rivers, right? That's because his Achilles heel. It's like game-to-game adjustments, whatever. But they won't hype up the fact that Eric Spoelstra is probably, in my opinion, if not reason number one, then reason number 1A, that they are in this position right now. The coaching is nuts, right? I mean, it's just phenomenal coaching. And to get all these role players, right, to be the best version of the role players that they are at this level in the NBA Finals, the preparation, it has to be top tier. It has to be. So I don't know. I think that's like an unsung story, I guess, of these Eastern Conference Finals and the finals so far.
Do y'all remember when we made fun of the NBA selecting Eric Spoelstra as one of the best coaches of all time?
Yeah.
I kind of feel stupid.
Man, I feel stupid a lot of times this playoff. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, this playoff, like, some of my takes and my thoughts on this playoff, I'm like, do I know basketball? Like I had to question myself a little bit. I was like, do I know basketball at all? Like, yeah, we did bad on that one.
No, I don't think y'all realize the NBA has just been really weird for the last 2 seasons, because we have not made a expectations episode in 2 years. That's mainly because I was like, I have no idea what's going to happen. Like I don't know who's going to win MVP. I don't know who's going to win the championship. I don't know anything. I'm really just coming here to have fun, and I didn't have as much fun as I thought I would.
It's so stupid.
No, bro. Think about all the injuries, like all the little stupid stuff that happened. Like I'm gonna be real with y'all. The Lakers should not have gotten as far as they did. They had a great road to get to where they got. I don't know if it was organized or orchestrated. I don't care what happened, but they made sure they got like all the soft spot teams where it's like, okay, you make it. Kind of the same thing with the Miami Heat.
Right.
And that's a crapshoot. Like stuff happens. It's nobody's fault. It's just
You can only play who's in front of
very
you.
different. What is that?
You can only play who's in front of you.
Exactly. It could have been very different.
That's
I don't
deep.
want to complain about stuff, but I got my hater boots on. Oh, we can call the Lakers again. By the way, their season is over.
And good on that.
Eh,
But yeah,
that's not no reason to talk about them. Well,
exactly.
Hachimura, but that's not gonna matter until next season. So moving on.
Exactly. I don't have anything else for the NBA Finals. Do y'all guys got something else?
Nope.
Not really. Well, I will say that like I actually do like the Nuggets coach Mike Malone a fair bit. I'm not going to go into detail on that a whole lot for the moment, but yeah, because it more or less just boiled down to years ago. After some game, I think against like the Lakers or somebody's reporter asked him, "Do you think y'all converted any new fans?" He's like, "We don't need any new fans. I don't care if we converted new fans, as long as the other team's fans went home unhappy."
Well, he's an interesting dude. I'll give him that. But let's go ahead get some rapid fire stuff. Shout out to Aaliyah Boston. She out here killing in the WNBA. Out here breaking records. But she had like 4 straight games of double doubles to set a WNBA all-time record. So shout out to her. She killing it. FIBA under 16 starts today. So if you guys want to see some really talented 15, 16-year-olds, and trust me, you want to see this. I think this is probably one of the best groupings and teams that I've probably ever seen come out of the and it's really because of size. It's not like something that you should get like super excited about, even though I think Cameron Boozer is going to be a generational talent. I think he's not close, but he gonna get some love in the league too. But yeah, like the shortest dude on the team, little 6'1" white kid that can really shoot, and everybody else is between like 6'4" and 6'11". Going to be fun watching us beat the shit out of the rest of the everybody else's teenagers. Great, I love it. My favorite time of year. All right. But guys, if we don't have anything else to add, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Traveling Hoopers podcast. I have been your host, Alan Perdiger Jr., and in front of me are my 2 best friends in the world, Calvin McGowan and Philip Dixon. Guys, go ahead and sign out for us.
Once again, everybody, I'm Calvin McGowan. It's always a pleasure to be here. You joining us on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, and send in the comments. You, of course, can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast. And I look forward to being more correct than my compatriots when it comes to the finals.
Yeah, and I'm Philip Dixon, aka will be more right than Calvin, and yeah, this right here is Traveling Hoopers podcast.
Oh, before we get out of here, what's the over/under on Ja Morant's game suspensions?
I don't even care. I just want them to announce it already.
I'm trying to figure out what these extra, the extra information they found out was.
Right.
But, I'm like, what's that even mean? Like,
it's like it's not his gun. Like he had shot somebody.
Pretty clear cut to me. Over under, I say since it's a second time.
Wait, let me set the line. I'm setting the line at 30. We over or under?
What? I'm gonna say over.
I think I'm gonna go with under.
Yeah, I'm going under too. I'm going under. I think he gets 25 games.
I'm
Like,
literally
he gets
going
25.
over. I'm really going over just because of I'm going over just because the second time, and also like why make these extra charges? Because they said extra charges or they said extra information, but like didn't say he wasn't gonna get suspended. So I'm like, what does this extra information mean? So this is my trash deductive skills happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go over.
But I think Adam Silver saying we found other stuff is very legal. I think that's legal talk. I think he's still drumming up like this is the marketing ploy. I'm gonna really get y'all to come back and look, see what else he did, and I don't think it's gonna be.
But like, why? But so like he was like, oh, we're not gonna go into it because we don't want to distract from the finals. It's like too late. You said something.
Yep, exactly. So, yep, I'm gonna go over. Y'all gonna go under.
I just want him to announce whatever it is. I don't even care like that.
No, let's make this spicy. We are now a sports betting podcast. We trying
what?
We trying to put money on it, or we trying to inconvenience each other one time on an episode? What's up? How to bet are we making out of this poor man's consequences? We can either put 20 in the pot, or we can come up with some bad dares.
20.
5. I know.
All right, thank you. Let's do 5.
Yeah, let's do 5.
5. No, we gotta embarrass each other on this one. If Ja had to embarrass himself, we gotta embarrass ourselves too.
I'm on a run how I run my life.
I do now. I'm the podcast host, so I'm ruining your life for
20
30 minutes at a time.
20.
Are you ready to go with the money? You're a psychopath. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Calvin, we're gonna have to split his $20.
Oh no. All right, let's try to do this podcast. Bye.